Let me just
It's
play
no
it.
surprise that the writing community is filled with drama. I mean, these people are authors, shocking twists are kind of their
I
thing.
always like the
Enter
way
the
she does her
late
makeup, by
Susan
the way.
Meechan, an indie romance
It's
author
always
based
like
out of
super different for
Tennessee.
like
With
every
an
video.
ever-growing collection of self-published titles, she described herself as a wife, a mum, a meme,
Not
and a
loud for me.
friend, and over the years she built up a small but loyal fan base who loved her work. However, in 2020, tragedy struck when it was announced that Susan had passed away. Her online friends and fans were heartbroken over this loss, posting tributes and encouraging others to buy her books to support her
Dude, it's such
grief-stricken
like a
family.
scummy
And now,
move.
2 years
Like,
later, Susan has come back alive and well.
like
Today,
that's
let's
the
take a
best
look at this
marketing you
truly
can do for your
bizarre
book is
hoax
just
that
to
rocked the
die.
writing community and the internet at large. Also, before we start, I just want to really quickly apologize that I'm not at my usual setup and I have like a generic door background. The reason is because
If
there's
I was an
prohibitively
IRL
loud
streamer,
construction noise
it
right
would
next to
not
my house
look.
that is
It would
literally
not
like
look good. It would look
shaking
just like
everything
this,
and it's
just
so
like
loud. So
my
unfortunately I will have
closet
to
door
film at like a
behind
different
me.
location
That's
for the
it.
moment,
Like
and hopefully
that's
I'll be
all
able
the
to sort
background
something
you
out.
get.
But yeah, that's the reason. Okay, let's begin. So who
I need to get
exactly
the
is
streamer
Susan
lights, you know,
Meechan? Based out of Tennessee,
the
Meechan was a
with like the
self-published
hexagons
romance
that
author who
like
published her
stick to
first
your
book to
wall.
Amazon in 2017 and over the years built up a dedicated fan base of readers. She specialized in what she called perfectly flawed romances which didn't shy away from darker topics, flawed characters,
That's
or
so
unhappy
weird though.
endings. From her About the Author
Like
section on Amazon, quote, I
it's weird because like this author was like an erotic. Like she would write like erotica, you know. I don't know if that's the right term, but you know what I mean by erotic. And so to think about like she's like she's like hitting the hard topics like depression and toxic romances in like a book where it's just heavy detail about people getting it done, you know? Like I'm so depressed but I gotta fuck. Like that's just wild, dude.
I've been an avid reader as far back as I can recall. It was a lifeline to transport me from dark moments in life. My preferred genre to read is historical romance. I love getting lost with the bad boys who were earls, kings, and such. When I decided to jump into the ring
Honestly, okay,
of authorship, I had
I'm gonna
no
let it go.
desire
I'm gonna let it
writing
go.
the average
I'm gonna
romance like so
stop
many others
pausing
do. I
too
wanted
so
to make
much,
my leads
but
flawed. It's how I came up
my
with my
favorite like
tagline, author of
historical
perfectly flawed
romance is
romances.
definitely
There's never a
an
guaranteed
anime
happily
called
ever after
Violet
in any of my
Evergarden.
books, but they are packed
I don't know
full
why I
of
said it like
emotions
that. It's
and
a pretty
love
big anime.
nevertheless. She
I mean,
currently has
that
12
anime is
titles
so good.
published
I
to
give it like
Amazon,
a 10 out of
exclusive
10
releases,
on
and double
my
packs, and
anime
as
list.
listed they are Chance Encounters Book 1, Stolen Moments, Letting Go, Chance Encounters Book 2, My
That is
Crush,
such a
Losing Him and
generic.
Finding You,
Like,
Special
look
Delivery
at this cover. Hold on.
releases, and double
Let's get
packs,
too
and as
much.
listed they are Chance Encounters Book 1, Stolen Moments, Letting Go.
Like this is like you could tell somebody just took. Oh my god, dude! Somebody, this is not good design. Somebody took this on their iPhone 6. This is an Instagram post that somebody took, and she used it for her cover, and then she went onto like Canva and went, which is what I use. It's a really helpful tool. You should try it. It's for free. Most things on there are for free. It's really helpful. But you see, she just put like the regular, like not Times Roman, but like what's it called? Like I don't even know. But you see, like these are like just like bland text. Like look at that. Self-made though. You gotta give her props for that. Self-made.
Go, Chance Encounters Book 2, My
Yeah, like this is just like compared to that last one, compared to this one, like this one is still wild. Like at least the font looks pretty good, you know, like everything right here looks good. And then they just like it's so like I thought this was the same guy, to be honest with you. I didn't know these were two different people. But this is like completely like you could tell it's Photoshop. Like the girl kind of fits, but this guy's way too bright. And I guess this guy kind of fits, but the light doesn't really make sense. I'm not like a I'm not like an expert on Photoshop, but compared to this, no, that's fine.
Book 1, Stolen
No, that's fine too.
Moments, Letting Go.
Compared to this, like you can't even tell what the book's about. Like you can't even get like an idea of what this book's about.
Chance Encounters Book
And it's
2.
book 2. It's book 2. You'd think the quality would get better.
My Crush,
Oh, okay, she would breeze by that one.
Losing Him and Finding You, Special
Like
Delivery.
again, like okay, look at that. This is like this is like Goosebumps font. Like what is that? Like she uses like the calligraphy, like beautiful font to write her name out, still very basic, but then she uses like Scooby-Doo type font for like the actual title.
Smoky Mountain Love.
And again,
music-
it's just every single thing on this cover, every single image for these covers are just like Instagram
Hope
posts.
Book 1 and Finding Me Duet.
Like this is
Finding
like
Faith Book
it's
2
like
and
me.
Finding-
He does not look like he wants to be there. This is just like me and my boyfriend on our first anniversary. Like that's what it looks like.
Finding Me Duet, Never/Ever, His Wicked Way, and lastly,
That looked like
Love
Jared
to
Leto.
Last a
That looked like
Lifetime.
Jared
Published in
Leto.
August of 2020, this would be the final novel published by Meechin before tragedy struck. But we'll get there. Anyway, these stories are pretty standard cliche romances utilizing
Yeah,
a
they
lot
kinda
of
look
common
like it, to be
tropes
honest
within
with
the
you. Not to
romance
trash
erotica
just dead
space.
person, but-
City girl falls
And they're
for
not even
country
dead,
boy,
they faked
country
it,
girl
so
torn
yeah, I think
between
I could
staying in
deserve
the
to
country
trash
where her
them a bit.
childhood crush lives or moving to the city. Sweet childhood friend versus rugged bad boy love triangle. Super rich guy falls in love with struggling girl who has a dark past, and of
Okay,
course
while I'm watching
mafia
this, I'm gonna
romance.
try to
Because if TikTok POVs
get
have taught me
amore.
anything, it's that people are weirdly into mafia bosses for
I
some
keep saying
reason.
like it's
Don't ask me
amore.
why. So yeah, these books are pretty
It's just
standard
amore.
self-indulgent
That's
romance
all it
stories,
is.
which is great. I think that everyone should have a fun, kind of weird self-indulgent creative outlet, and there's clearly a huge market out there for books like this. And they're far from the only tropey self-published romance novels out there. There are thousands of authors who make a living publishing very cheap, like in the $2 to $3 range, romance and erotica books for Amazon and Kindle, often featuring supernatural bad boys, high-powered businesswomen getting into office love
favorite type of
triangles, and of
boys.
course, mafia bosses. While these authors are incredibly passionate
Mafia-
about their
that's
work
so
and the
random.
craft of writing in general, they tend to lack the industry connection.
I guess,
that
like,
more
I guess it's
published
like a
authors
power
have.
thing, you know?
That's why Facebook groups are
Like a
such an
power-
integral
not,
part
but, like,
of the
reverse,
self-published
you
Amazon
know?
author ecosystem. It gives authors a place to network with
'Cause, like,
proofreaders,
women are mainly
publishing
reading
assistants,
these.
and fellow
Women
authors,
are
as well
mainly
as
reading
advertise
these.
and share their
I'm sorry,
work
I'm
with
so
readers.
self-conscious
In an interview with
about how I
CNN,
pronunciate
Candace
stuff
Adams, who
now,
met Susan Meechin in
how I pronounce stuff,
2019, wrote,
because I watched my
quote,
last
I think the best way
VOD,
to explain
and
it is
I
we
was
all
just
have to work together. We all have to market together.
mumbling
we swap
throughout the
releases
entire
and
thing. It was
information and
bad.
hold launch parties online. Some of my best friends in the world are authors I've met during my writing journey, and we talk almost every day. Meechin, being a prolific author in the self-published romance space, was herself heavily involved in the writing community and created her own Facebook group which she called The Ward. Throughout the years, she would steadily grow and develop her fan base through this
That's
group,
so
and she was
intense
also able
for,
to
like,
connect with other writers, forming friendships
group
with
of
fellow
moms
authors in the
writing
same writing
together.
sphere as her. So life in The Ward remained peaceful for many years. Meechin continued publishing novels and building up her body of work. She continued gaining fans, and it remained as a great place for authors and writers to connect and support each other. It seemed like things could only go up for Susan, until tragedy struck, or so it seems. On September the 1st of 2020, Susan Meechin made a worrying post to The Ward, reading, quote, "Everyone, my virtual assistant will be keeping The Ward as I am taking my leave of the industry. Treat her with the respect she deserves. She put up with my bipolar ass for almost 4 years without a moment's hesitation along the way. No one should want to die when they work for themselves, and every day it got to the point that I'd rather be dead than to deal with the industry and the people who swear that they are friends. I've had some dog-eat-dog jobs in my life, but this one is by far the most vicious with the least amount of money. Enjoy your time in this world, because trust me, not one of us is getting out of it alive, and not one book
Why is
status
this
will
so
be spoken of
bleak?
once your last breath
God
is
dang.
drawn. Peace, love,
Just say
butterflies."
goodbye.
After this odd post, the group remained largely dormant, with members wondering what exactly was going on. They got their answer on the 22nd of October when Meechin's virtual assistant and the group's administrator made a shocking post to The Ward, quote, "Please share, before Susan Meechin passed away, she had written her last book, Love to Last a Lifetime. She wanted to have it published by her daughter's wedding. This is it. It's on pre-order now for $1.99. Release date is October 30th. Hold on, wait, before Susan Meechin, what? This was the first that anyone in the group had heard of the author passing away, and shock and confusion immediately set in as they began flooding the admins with questions. A day later, on the 23rd
I do not
of
know my
October, Susan
password
Meechin's daughter made a
for-
clarifying post to The Ward using her mother's account. It read, quote, "Sorry,
For
thought
PayPal.
everyone on this page knew
Is
my
not
mom
letting
passed
me in.
away. Dead people don't post on social media. I've been on this account for a week now, finishing her last book, my wedding gift from her. If you'd like to talk to some of the people
Yeah,
who
I'm gonna
have
have to
been
buy it
helping me,
tomorrow.
let me
Yeah,
know.
I don't know
We've
my
asked for very
password.
little from everyone, but I'm asking that you leave the virtual assistant alone. She has been a saint through all of this, and she deserves some peace. Again,
You know, I
please
could-
be respectful.
No, I got it,
Now
I got
here's
it.
a link to her last book, and goodbye." Obviously, everyone was completely floored and heartbroken over this news, and while it was never explicitly mentioned, it was insinuated that Meechin had taken her life as a result of bullying and harassment
That's
that
so
she faced from the
intense.
writing community. While many friends and fans were grief-stricken and upset, others were angry at the harassment and bullying that the author had faced from her peers and readers, and several members of the community began their own campaigns of harassment directed at those that they believed were responsible. Samantha
one of your favorite author dies, right? And you think it's because of bullying, and so now you go on like this whole like crusade on like being like an anti cyberbullying, like what is it, like activist, and then 2 years later the same person that made you go and be motivated to fight for this really great cause comes back to life. And it's just like, yeah, no, that didn't happen. Yeah, and I just quit. I just wanted to dip my toes in death for a little bit. You know, I thought it would make you guys buy a little bit more copies because you guys were kind of slacking, to be honest with you. But I'm glad but I mean, look, I'm back, you know? It's pretty cool, right? Like, I'm not gone, I'm not dead, I'm here. I could make more books if you guys want me to. You know, like, that's just so messed up.
Cole, a fellow author who had previously been friends with Susan Meacham, wrote in a Facebook post, quote, "We grieved the loss of the woman we considered a friend. I personally was harassed by another author who loves to create drama, claiming I was one of the authors who bullied Susan. The ward then became a solemn place for fans
like, imagine like somebody dies and somebody just says it's your fault. Like, what the heck?
Awareness and prevention fundraisers, and a group of authors even dedicated a quote-unquote paranormal bully romance anthology to her memory. The dedication, written in the Bully King anthology, reads, quote, "For Susan Meacham, an author of what she called perfectly flawed romances. The world is a little less bright without her. Words can hurt, but they don't have to. Words can also heal. Let's keep the bullying where it belongs, in fiction." We don't even have time to get into the rabbit hole that is paranormal bully romance as a genre, but this is genuinely the strangest dedication I have ever seen.
Yeah, that's too much work,
to someone who died from bullying in your sexy fantasy bully romance
that's so wild.
A choice. Though Meacham's daughter had expressed
dude, like what is written in that book? Is it like I've been bullied on the internet? Oh, okay, I just dropped everything. Like, I've been bullied on the internet all my life. Nobody understands what I'm going through. Except for Daniel, he's so hot. What is Daniel doing today? I hope Daniel doesn't see me today. I hope he doesn't come over.
An intense hatred of the book world after her passing and wanted nothing to do with it, she decided to finish her mother's final book and publish it to honor her memory. It was advertised heavily on the ward as a way to support Meacham's family and keep her memory alive, and fellow authors and friends brought the book and shared the posts around to raise awareness. However, things in the ward soon began to get weird. Around the time of Susan's passing, her daughter, who was still posting under her account, began to ask around for editors to help her finish her mother's unpublished works. A few days later, she made a post stating that her life was headed in a different direction and asked whether she should keep her mother's books up or take them down. She wrote, quote, "Trying to maintain half of what she did with them is a lot, and personally, I don't see the sales going anywhere now." A month later, in December of 2020, she wrote,
this is what I don't
repeating
get.
my mom's words, WTF Amazon.
Do you gotta like, so she's making it seem like is she talking about like marketing the book? Because I'm pretty sure you could just leave the listing up for the book, and if nobody's buying it, that means you're not really putting that much work into like shipping stuff and like getting the orders together. I don't know what she means by this is a bunch of work, you know? Like, she might be like, I might be jumping ahead because I have watched up to like this point, but like I used to do stuff for like I used to list stuff on eBay because I used to sell like Funko Pops on there, and all you do is just post pictures of the item that you're selling, put the description in, and then that's it. You just post it, and if somebody buys it, they buy it, right? Like, it's like it's just a one-time thing. So I don't know what she makes it seem like every day she's having to do something for her mom's books, when it's like, I'm sure like if she's like talking about marketing, then yeah, it's a different thing. But oh, cool, finished downloading. Okay, we'll play it right after this.
I was trying to set up a special for Chance Encounter and still waiting. More details when we're done. In January, things appeared to have worsened still as she wrote, quote, Mum's book sales and page reads have declined since she passed to 0 this month. We are looking for PR/someone to work her books. I work the audiobooks a few days a week, and hell, it's hard to give them away, let alone sell one. Things finally came to a head in February, quote, Unless something changes in the next 21 days, all of my mum's books will be unpublished. Her paperbacks will be going on sale, then unpublished. The only way you'll be able to get the books will be through audio. Her sales and page reads have been 0 for a few months now, and it's a waste of my time to work them every morning after work with 0 movement. Hell, we hired a publishing assistant to help, and it's not helped any so far, so if you want any of her
okay,
work,
let's say
then
she
now's the
did
time to
die.
pick them up.
Which she didn't. We found out that she doesn't die. She faked her death. That was spoiled pretty early on in the video. But I mean, like, imagine she was dead and then her daughter just completely like gets rid of all her work. That's messed up. Like, your mom worked on this for like years and years and years, and then just to like for the daughter to just completely like erase her, like, essentially her legacy, because this could stay forever as long as they have it up on Amazon. Yeah, that's just wild, dude.
Also,
like,
this account will be dark except
like
for audio promoting. This strangely bitter
hatred,
post
dude.
confused and upset many, especially when Meechan's virtual assistant posted to the ward to confirm that her daughter had indeed taken all of her books offline. Apparently, things hadn't changed in the last 21 days, and the lack of sales drove Meechan's daughter to unpublish all of her novels and stop posting to the ward. Though Meechan's daughter had seemingly abandoned the group, the admins tried to keep it alive for the sake of the fans. A few new admins were added during early to mid 2021, including one called TN Steel. Aside from a few new admin announcements, writers and fans checking in with each other, and tribute rest in peace posts, the group remained largely quiet for the next few years. At the end of 2022, Meechan's virtual assistant made a post apologizing for her absence and explaining that she was preoccupied with some pretty serious personal circumstances. She wanted to pass the group onto a new owner rather than closing it down, which she felt would be a disservice to Susan and her work. The previously mentioned administrator TN Steel replied to this post writing, quote, I'll take it. I will overhaul it in hopes that it pleases you and Susan. She followed this up with a post on November 5th which read, Evening/morning everyone, my name is Trina and I'm the new owner of this group. I plan to make this the place to be on every given day. Parties, games, meme wars, and so on. Who's ready to win some book money? I bet you.
Okay, so I've only watched up to this point of the video. I bet you Trina is actually Susan.
Bit of an odd development. Absolutely nobody could have been prepared for the shock twist
that's
that
just
the story took.
That's just theory, guys. I'm not putting any money on that, but it just feels like that's what the twist is going to be.
Right or not. There's going to be tons of questions and lots of people leaving the group, I'd guess, but my family did what they thought was best for me and I can't fault them for it. I almost died at my own hand and they had to go through all that hell again. Returning to the ward doesn't mean much, but I am in a good place now and I'm hoping to write again. Let the fun begin. Which brings us to today. The fallout from this bizarre hoax has sent shockwaves around the internet.
Wait, that was her coming out as like alive? Did I completely missed that. Hold up.
In January of 2023, I debated if anyone wants to ask me questions. Though this was a little bit of an odd development, absolutely nobody could have been prepared for the shock twist that the story took in January of 2023.
Oh, so that is her coming back. Dude!
For it. I almost died at my own hand and they had to go through all that hell again. Returning to the ward doesn't mean much, but I am in a good place now and I'm hoping to write again. Let the fun begin. Which brings us to today. The fallout from this bizarre hoax has sent shockwaves around the internet and it has gone well and truly viral. And yeah, it kind of makes sense. I mean, this author had literally faked her death for 2 years just to come back with a Facebook post and
she's like, sends this whole message where she's like, I don't want to write anymore. I'm gonna take a break. I just have too, like, this industry's too much. And then later her daughter comes on, and it's like, oh yeah, my mom's dead. I thought I told you. I thought she told you that she's dead. Yeah, no, she's been gone for a while now. And you know, I'm getting tired of like her books, so I just gonna pass it on. I'm just gonna take them down unless somebody else wants to take over, and somebody else does take over to like continue the mom's legacy. And then the mom posts, hey guys, I'm back again, I'm done with my break. And you're just like, from death? Like, I thought you were dead. What do you mean you're back from your break? You were dead. Your daughter told us you were dead. Like, that is just wild. Like something's going on behind the scenes, brother.
Let the fun begin. So to say
Just
people were
weird.
bamboozled would be an
That's so
understatement. Readers and fans were completely floored, but it was those closest to Meechin who were the most hurt. Author Samantha A. Cole made a lengthy Facebook post
That's how cheap her books were, and nobody bought them. Oh
to
my
Meechin
god.
who were the most hurt. Author Samantha A. Cole made a lengthy Facebook post explaining her side of the story as someone
God, like
who's been
imagine you're selling them for like the price of like a water bottle. Because water bottles are surprisingly expensive now. And nobody's willing to take a sip. Like, that's wild,
friends
dude.
with Meechin. In this post, she included screenshots of herself confronting the author, who emphasized that this wasn't her decision. She had been admitted to the hospital during a mental health crisis, and her family made the decision to make a fake death announcement while she was away. She
That's
understood
okay.
what
No
they did
wonder
and
she went
emphasized
to
that
like.
this wasn't a
No wonder
plot
she's going crazy. Her family's insane if they decided to
sell more
do
books,
that.
as none of them had even sold, and she was working with a psychiatrist. Book editor and author Casey Hill, who was also close with Meechin and helped her edit her book, said that there were many red flags early on. The day before the announcement of her passing, Susan had actually messaged her to let her know that she would be going to a mental health institution. She also noted that all of the posts written by the author's quote-unquote daughter had Susan's exact mannerisms and writing styles, and the TN Steele account had been made less than a month after Susan allegedly passed. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Casey Hill wrote, quote, "No one knew it was her, but she admitted to me that TN Steele was indeed her. She deleted it once she came out alive." She
Wait,
also
was I
confirmed
right?
that the author had a pretty extensive
Did she? Oh, so Tian Steele is her. Is Susan, right? Or is it her daughter? Dude, did I get it right?
history of mental health.
Because I was like, there's no way that daughter's gonna give it away to like some stranger. Like, if there's money to be made.
which they both had in common and would confide in each other about. Accusations of the entire hoax being a scam in order to peddle books and make money from donations have obviously been flying around, and this is where
God
things get murky.
dang, that's wild.
Samantha A.
This
Cole made
isn't,
a
like, the
follow-up
first
post on
time,
Facebook
though.
with over 50 screenshots
Like, this
of
has happened so
conversations
many
that she had
times with other
friends
people.
and associates of Meechin, as well as images of
Like, they'll
fundraising
fake
and donation
injuries
posts from
and,
the
like,
ward. It reads
illnesses
in part,
that way you
quote,
donate
"The
to them."
following are screenshots from multiple sources. One is from a fundraiser in 2019 for Susan Meechin because Susan has been going through a rough couple of months. Her kidneys have worsened and are shutting down. Her next option is dialysis. She is not eligible to be on a kidney transplant list as she also has lupus. She's been given the chance for an experimental surgery, her insurance will not approve it, and her co-pays for specialists are extremely high.
Okay, so is she
Not
dying
only
or
was money
not?
raised, but Susan
Like-
Meechin thanked everyone for
I don't want her to
participating in the
die,
fundraiser.
but, I mean,
This is
just
not
pick
the
a
only
side,
fundraiser
dude.
that was held for her, but Susan Meechin has been a busy little bee and has been deleting events and posts
Busy
as
little
fast as
bee.
she can before they can
You
get
say,
screenshotted.
yeah,
But
she's like riddled with illnesses, but you know, she's a busy little bee, you know? It's, it's such like a change in tone.
it looks like she's missed a few. There's one screenshot
Like, yeah, she's close to dying, but I mean, she's kind of like a cutie patootie right now, if you think about it. Like,
concerning a fundraiser for her husband's surgery to remove a mass on his head that they needed to pay for it up front. As you'll see further in screenshots, that
I just
surgery
can't
was never
believe
needed
any
nor
of
happened.
this.
Also, there are screenshots of my conversations with two people. One knows Susan Meechin in real life and was able to verify a lot of what did
like
and
after
did not
everything I've
happen
been through
concerning
with this
Susan
person,
Meechin
I don't
and her
think I can
husband.
trust this.
They're from the same small town in
Anything
Tennessee where
that's said
everyone knows
about them.
everyone, and this person has access to Susan Meechin's family members who could confirm that many of the medical issues
That being
Susan
said, I
Meechin
wouldn't
claims
mind
she
like a
and her husband
Netflix
had, in
biopic.
fact,
That'd be
did not
great.
exist. The crux of this post is basically that Susan has had a history of
Dahmer
starting up
was too
GoFundMes,
much, but
auctions,
this
and
would be
donation
amazing.
pools for various health issues which Cole disputes the legitimacy of. According to the screenshots, the author has claimed in the past to have lupus and cancer, the latter of which inspired her to use the disease as a plot point in one of her books. One woman who claimed to live in the same small town as Meechin and knew her family expressed her doubt about the cancer claims. She also
Okay. I feel like they should have just came out with this instead of saying that she was dead. Because let's say they did this for money, right? I think more people would buy the books and donate if they found out that she had all these illnesses and that they didn't have enough money to pay for them. And so that way people would be like think that they have like a chance to save this person, right? But instead they just killed her off. And it's just like, okay, well, I guess we're not getting any books anymore like that. I guess that's what, like, yeah, like if you're trying to, like, I'm not trying to like give advice how to like scam people, but I feel like this, if it's true, is a way better way to get people to donate to you than saying that the person's dead, because then it just makes people feel like they like can't do anything about it anymore, like their moment's over to help, you know.
Also claimed to have kidney issues that required a transplant, which she couldn't get because of her lupus. Again, this has been called into question, as generally lupus patients can and do receive kidney transplants. From a comment on Cole's Facebook post, quote, "Lupus does not disqualify you from a kidney transplant. Quite the opposite. Many lupus warriors need and receive kidney transplants." Multiple fundraisers were hosted to raise money for these medical issues, as well as medical issues that her husband was suffering from, which the community donated to. I want to stress that it's important to take all of this with a huge grain of salt. Out of context pictures of options and hearsay from people who claim to know Susan aren't really enough, and while I don't want to discount anyone who's come forward, these are
I don't want to say that's not true either, but I mean,
back them up. I thought
it's kind of hard to believe somebody that, I mean, I guess technically she, if it's true, her daughter's the one that lied about her death, but who knows, maybe
so has the author in question
this is still the daughter, you know, still lying.
As far as I can tell, no. There's a supposed interview with Susan Meechan on a Substack called Upstream, which has been heavily shared around on Twitter, but according to Samantha A. Cole, this is likely fake. The Susan Meechan Twitter account that reached out to Upstream to give this interview was fake, having only been created in 2023 when the real Susan Meechan's Twitter account has been around for years. Additionally, tons of high-profile news outlets have reached out to her for comment, including the BBC, the Daily Mail, and the New York Post, so why would she only agree to give an interview for an obscure Substack? Thankfully, Upstream decided to remove the interview portion of the article after people started raising questions about its validity, but unfortunately that hasn't stopped it from spreading like wildfire on Twitter. Similarly, a screenshot of the author apparently admitting that this was all an elaborate hoax that she had orchestrated from day one has been debunked by Cole and others who knew Meechan. This is all to say that there's a lot of misinformation surrounding this whole situation, so again, liberal helping of salt. Aside from a few scattered text conversations and those completely fake interviews, the author has been otherwise quiet on the topic. Understandably, there are a lot of mixed opinions when it comes to this whole mess. Some feel that leading your friends and fans into thinking that you've passed away when you're actually completely alive and well is unforgivable, while others don't think that Susan can be blamed for something that her family did. Casey Hill mentioned
I'm not holding it against her family.
Didn't like when she wrote, as a lot of the subject matter was heavy and would worsen her mental illness. This lends credence to the theory that maybe her family felt that writing wasn't good for her and took the opportunity of her being in treatment to put a stop to it, which would be incredibly bizarre, but to be honest, there aren't really many explanations for this entire situation that aren't incredibly bizarre. Personally, I think that two things can be true at once. It's clear that the author in question genuinely struggles with mental health issues, a point which is often left out of conversations about this whole drama.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it in her work if she writes about it a lot.
Book world, stopping your work to get treatment, or even quitting writing altogether, but you cross a line when you
that's not always true.
Loved ones into thinking that you're literally gone. Even if the family was responsible for making up this lie, the Tea and Steel account became active just a month after that initial post. It seems like she had been quietly maintaining an internet presence for quite some time, and as such she really should have let everyone know that she was alive as soon as she could. Many of the authors personally connected with Meechan expressed feelings of guilt,
we don't know what's happening behind the scenes,
or if they had just been there to talk to her at the right
I feel
time,
like you should just came out right
away. That's truly heartbreaking, and
but again,
to the people
you don't know what's
that you
happening.
care
Maybe
about
they're
through
just
such
like
trauma is
threatening
really
her or something.
terrible. As for the claims of fraud and manipulation, well, again, things are murky, and it's clear that we don't have the whole picture. And maybe we never will with how blurry the lines are between fiction and reality. Okay, huge update. Just as I was about to finish editing this video, an article called A Fake Death in Romancelandia was published by the New York Times with an actual legitimate interview with Susan Meechan.
Ooh.
In it, the author was quoted saying, "I think it's a very dangerous mix-up, especially if you have a mental illness. I would log on and get in, and at some point in the day the two worlds would collide and it would become hard to differentiate between the book world and the real world. It was like they would sandwich together. The drama and conflict in the book world became a quote-unquote addiction for her, and every time she tried to quit, she'd get a notification and be pulled
because of everything that's happening.
The article confirmed the theory that her family was worried about the effect that the book world was having on her mental health, to the point where her husband asked their daughter to make a fake death announcement. I told them that she is dead to the indie world, the internet, because we had to stop her, period. She could not stop it on her own. And even to this day, I'll take
That's such a
100% of
wild
the blame,
sentence.
the
I thought
accolades, whatever you want to
I
call
had to
it.
stop her
Despite the
period.
article
I thought
confirming that police had been involved, she claimed that she broke
I had
no
to do a
laws.
double take
Quote,
when
I'm sorry for their mourning, but from a legal standpoint,
she
I
said
did nothing
that.
wrong. Morally, I might have done something wrong, but legally, there's nothing wrong. Now, this article has been controversial in the book world. Many authors who have been invested in the story have criticized the article for
Like the
placing the blame
Instagram
squarely on the
post
book world,
cover,
covering the
the
toxicity and
infamous
drama
Instagram
extensively while
post
underplaying
cover.
Meechan's own actions. It also failed to mention the extent to which the fake Tea and Steel account was active during this time. Josh Jacobs, at @JoshJacobs on Twitter, wrote, quote, I have deep empathy for people suffering from intense mental health crises.
Oh,
Where I think the
dang.
New York Times article about Susan Meechan fails is that it vastly underplays how active Meechan's fake account was during her 2 years, another piece of information barely disclosed. Sure, her husband made a truly horrific choice, but here's the thing, she also made a choice. She chose to continue with the ruse and then randomly changed her mind. On the other hand, some are supportive of the article, claiming that Meechan's ex-friends and those writing articles about the topic are ableist, failing to recognize the large role that the author's bipolar played in this entire situation. Some have criticized the
Yeah,
general
it's
public's
always
reception
tough
to the story, claiming
because
that
it's
they
like
are
how much
disappointed.
blame can you put on people with these kind of disorders, you know? Because it's not fully them. But at a certain point, it gets to a certain point where you're just like, you can't really use it as an excuse anymore. I mean, just look at like the whole Kanye stuff, right? Like the whole Ye thing. Now nobody's saying that, because before when he was saying like wild stuff, a lot of people were just like, well, he's probably going through an episode. You know, they're coming up with all these like reasons. I'm not gonna say excuses, I'm gonna say reasons. As to why he was acting the way he was acting, but now it got to the point where it's just too far, to the point where people are like, you know, there's like no excuse for it. So it's kind of hard to judge this person.
Actually did, and I don't really.
You don't
think
really
that's a
know
fair
them,
assessment.
you know?
I don't think people criticizing the situation want anything bad to happen to this author at all. You're allowed to criticize
Dang,
something
Zero,
without
I can
wanting
read that
someone
right now.
literally did. So I don't know if that's fair.
It's
A lot
for
of people
free?
have claimed that neither the author nor the family should be blamed for something that they did in a last-ditch attempt to save a loved one's life, and I completely understand this perspective as well. This is very much not a black and white situation. There's a lot of nuance here, and clearly a ton of mixed opinions. What is clear is that the gradual unfolding of this bizarre hoax is a reminder that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. The book world is rife with drama, but it's not often that drama spills out into the real world in such a shocking way. However you feel about the situation, according to the charts, the author's
Sorry, my mom was asking about pants. yeah. Okay.
books have skyrocketed in popularity.
Yeah, the situation's
which goes to
crazy
show
because
that
it's just
these
like
days
there's
the
no
saying,
clear
"Good
answer
press is
because
good
nobody
press"
knows the
could
full
not be more
situation.
relevant. Thank
Nobody
you guys
really
so much for
knows
watching. I really
the
appreciate it. I
whole
hope that you
truth of what's
enjoyed
going
that
on
video
here.
topic. It's a
It's just
wild
like a
one.
bunch
Like I
of
said, I
like
don't think
puzzle
that we have all the
pieces that.
pieces, so I think there will
That's-
definitely
I'm
be a
sorry, I
lot
had
of
to
stuff
pause. You
coming
said the
out
same
probably
word
in
at the
the
same
next few
time.
weeks or
That
kind of
threw
in
me
the
off
future.
guard.
So yeah, definitely take all of this with a grain of salt. And yeah, I'm looking forward to
honestly,
seeing how things
it's just like
unfold
something
further.
that
Again, I'm really sorry about the background.
I think this is something that you just have to just move on from. Not like forgive them for. You don't have to forgive them. It's just something that you shouldn't put too much time and effort into figuring out what's going on. Just like go watch TV, you know? Go do like a hobby or something. Don't let this take up space in your mind, you know? It's just one incident and it's gonna blow over. It's really interesting for sure, but I don't think you should try to like debunk the truth or anything. Just like ignore it. Just move on. There's nothing you could really do. You will never get the full truth about what's happening. So why put so much effort into trying to figure it out? Like, this video is really interesting. I'm not saying this in terms of like this YouTuber. I think she's really great. And it is entertaining to learn about for sure. But I'm saying like going forward, if this interests you, I mean, it's probably something better you can do with your time, you know? If you're upset by this, you can be upset. You just take a break, you know? You know, you don't need to focus on this. Don't let this be a moment in your life, you know? Okay, I think it's time to play Amori. That's a really good video.